Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley Hudak, here to do another segment of Feature Friday, where we like to highlight coaches, student athletes, and other personnel in this industry. Today, we have Gladine here with us today. So super excited. She has had an awesome career with basketball and so many accolades to follow with it. Gladine, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for being here with us.
I am doing amazing. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So, why not jump right into it, right? So, where are you from and what sport did you end up playing?
So I was born in Brooklyn, New York. I lived there for 7 years, and then family and I moved to Queens, New York, and we lived there for 7 years. And then after that, 14 years total in New York, we moved to a small town called Leesport, Pennsylvania, which is like 10 minutes away from Reading, Pennsylvania. So moved there, and that's when I found out the game of basketball and played there. And I went to Schuylkill Valley High School and went to school at Millersville University. Sports I played growing up I tried it all. So
Yeah.
soccer, volleyball, and just basketball. Track, when I mean I tried it like one practice and that was it. So
Hey, that's okay. We all find what we
yeah,
like and what we don't like.
right, right.
100%. That's awesome because sometimes the versatility helps with other
Yep,
sports. So,
absolutely.
100% you have to find what you like.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Also, with that, because basketball was your primary sport when you were going from high school to college and looking to see where you wanted to go, where did you get offered and the place you actually went to, how did you know that was the best fit for you?
Oh, it was so long ago. The top three I could remember I was really focusing on was Bucknell, Hofstra, Old Dominion, and Millersville University. Those were the top four I was looking at. And I chose Millersville University because one, it was close to home. I am a family person, wanted to stay close with my mom and my sisters and brother at the time. So definitely Millersville University. Wasn't sure what I really wanted to major in. At first, it was business administration, and I feel everybody wants to major in business administration. But I felt like, you know what, I'm kind of being like everybody else. Let me find something else that's different. So talked to a few students at Millersville University, talked to a few professors, and then I found the major of occupational safety and environmental health, something completely different, never heard of it. And I decided, hey, you know what, let me give this major I tried. One of my first classes, I believe, was fire prevention, and I actually loved the class. So I'm like, you know what? Let me stick with this major, and it was actually great for me. So I graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in occupational safety and environmental health.
I think that's really great how you were saying too that you went to college somewhere close to home and how your support system and your family was there for you. I think that's a big part of the
Yeah,
comfortability and helping your experiential learning too to help
right,
grow as an individual. So, I mean, some
right.
people are going to do better further away, some people are going to do better closer, but I'm glad you had that experience to help grow and flourish not only your athletic career but your academic as well. And
Absolutely.
huge kudos to you because I saw that at Millersville and in your high school you were part of the 1,000 Point Club. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, I mean, huge accomplishment. And there is a story behind my high school career, and there is a story behind my college career, which why I really got into mental performance. But I think that's for another time. But in high school, never knew in a million years that I would be part of history. So I graduated as the all-time leading scorer with 1,796 points. And playing the game of basketball, that was not my goal. My goal was just to compete every single day, no matter what the game felt like, no matter what I felt like. The game of basketball was a passion for me. So when you have a passion for something, you can't ask yourself, am I going to show up today? It just shows up. If that's your passion, that's how you show up. You show up with energy and you show up excited and you show up competing. So being part of history at Schuylkill Valley is amazing. I still can't believe like my name is in the gym, the
Right.
banners, and all that good stuff. Millersville University, another thing I did not see coming as part of history. I believe I graduated 11th all time leading scorer there. And the reason why I never thought in a million years I would surpass a thousand point or even have a pretty good career is because My entire freshman year, I sat the bench. I had no minutes whatsoever. It was a mental battle with me, a severe mental battle with me when it came to college sports. And I'm so lucky that I was able to overcome that. Because if I didn't, I don't think I'll be doing what I'm doing right now and be
Right.
able to speak about the mental game from experience.
Right. No, I think that's great. I mean, everyone has their own story, where they start, how they came up. And I think that helps what you do right now. Like you saying you not getting minutes, you not knowing if you were going to start there, and then ending up being an all-star player, someone who other people could look up to. I guess that transitions into what you do right now. So can you tell us a little bit about what you do now and what your role looks like?
So, as a mental performance coach, I do want to say that I still work in the field that I graduated in. I am a regional environmental health and safety manager for the entire East regions, but that's, I guess, for another time. In regards to mental performance, I am a mental performance coach for athletes. We could say mental toughness coach, mental skills coach. It all fits in the same bucket for me. So, and the reason why I got into mental performance coach, so after mental performance coaching, after I graduated, I went back home and I started to do skills and development training for athletes around the time. And for me, it wasn't about the money. I charged like $10, you know. So, and there was a park right next to my house, the same park that I used to walk through every single day to work out back in high school. So I would have kids meet me there. We would train, and I had quite the list of clientele. There was a lot of people coming to work with me, and I found one common thing. It was a mental game to them. They would come, they would work out, they would do well throughout the drills. But then when I asked them, well, how did the game go? I couldn't shoot. I was too nervous. I lack confidence. I'm like, wow, this is a reoccurring theme with all the athletes that I'm working with. And so they would ask me, Coach G, well, how did you have all the confidence? And for me, it was the belief that I had in myself and the work ethic that I put in. And so I knew that I had to do something different with my training. I could train the physical part of the game all day, every day, but if their mental and mindset is not right, they won't be in sync and they won't perform how they want to in game. So I started to Google mental skills training or how do you help athletes with the mental side of the game. And back then it wasn't as popular as it is now. So I'm just, doing all these searches and I saw quite a few certifications. I sought after the best mental performance coaches in the game. And, I emailed, never got responses back, but I kept pushing, finally getting responses and certifications and, talking to the top mental performance coaches in the game. And so I studied for about a good probably a couple of years. And so I started to transition from coaching the physical part of the game to the mental part of the game.
So, how did the mental side help you not only grow as an individual, but help you help these student athletes grow as well?
So learning about the mental game, there's a lot of things that I was doing already as an athlete, some strategies that I didn't know that were actually skills that, mental performance coaches teach their athletes as well. So it definitely helped me grow because I learned about growth and fixed mindset. I learned about visualizing, which is a really key mental skill in mental performance. And so it helping me first allowed me to help my athlete, teaching them the skills. And, I work with athletes ranging from seventh grade all the way to college, and not every athlete is the same. So learning the different mental skills, the techniques, the strategies, and learning how to teach it. That's another step. You need to learn how to teach the mental skills, whether you're working with a seventh grader or whether you're working with someone who's in college.
Right.
And so a lot of athletes, they talk about wanting to be mentally tough, but they think it's just quotes. They think it's just being macho when things are going well. But you really, the same way you put the same amount of work in from the physical part of the game, you have to put the same amount of work in when it comes to your mental game. You have to.
Right, 100%. And I think that's super important and super critical and something we're still learning and developing at this time. I guess you realize what challenges there are, but what's the biggest challenge you see in the student athletes you help train?
Lack of confidence. The lack of confidence. That's a big one. They doubt their skills. They are worrying about what other people think of them. And I just feel that, in this game of basketball, you have to play through mistakes. A lot of people think, oh, I make a mistake, it's over, I can't play anymore. No, the game of basketball is made up of mistakes. If you watch a basketball game, within the first minute or two, you will see a mistake. So the lack of confidence is huge that I see in athletes,
Mhm.
hands down.
I think that's great piece of advice. Like, have your confidence, but realize you're going to make mistakes because I've heard people say that if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying and
Or
you're
you're
never
not
going to
growing.
learn. You're never
Yeah,
going to learn. Exactly.
yeah, yeah. And I personally, my own personal story, I learned that not in the basketball setting, but in corporate America as well. In the beginning of my professional career, I had to learn about mistakes and bouncing back from them. So that's another area of experience that I have where I could teach my athletes.
Gotcha. No, that's great. Like people need to hear this and realize that success isn't generated overnight, that it takes hard work and grit.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So, leading into that, how important is it for individuals, student athletes, just anyone in general to come in with an open and growth mindset? How is that going to help them succeed?
It's very important because if you come in with a closed mindset, that means you're not ready to learn. That means you're not interested. That means you believe it's not for you. And in order for you to grow, in order for you to become better or become successful or accomplish your goals, you have to be open to new things. My one of my favorite quotes is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if you want to different result, you have to do something different. So you have to open your mind to mental coaching. And so for me, again, when I was learning about the mental skills, I was like, no, that strategy is not going to work. That strategy is not going to work. But
Mhm.
I'm on the outside, right?
Right.
I'm trying to learn the mental game. I'm trying to teach the mental game. So I had to be open as well. And so the more I opened myself to different challenges, the more I opened myself to new concepts, the better I became as a coach. And so for athletes, if you're coming in with a growth mindset, you're not going to grow. It's going to feel very, very uncomfortable at first. But
Mhm.
like the saying says, nothing grows in your comfort zone. You have to be able to take a step out to grow. You have to be able to learn. You have to be able to fail, and you have to be able to learn from the failures. So it's not failure if you learn from it. It is a failure if you accept the failure and you stay there. But when you fail, you have to accept it and you have to take from it, take the good, take the bad as well, and then move forward. Don't just
Right.
fail and stay there.
No, that's super important. I definitely couldn't have not said that better
Yeah,
myself, but I mean, being a fellow student athlete as well, who has been playing sports all her life too, I mean, that's great. Like, and
yeah.
yes, you can hear it, but actually implementing it is something completely different.
Completely, completely different. You have to be able to implement that in your game as well. Like you said, you could hear it all day. We see it all the time. Commercials, Instagram is good for putting up quotes. I put a lot of quotes too, but it's one thing to put a lot of quotes up there, but you have to actually implement, the strategies that you see all out there. And I think that's the hard part, being patient and being able to implement the strategies at the same time.
Right. No, that's totally great advice, and I appreciate that. Just, do you have anything additional you'd like to say to fellow high schoolers, juniors, or even like individuals in college right now?
I would like to say, and this is beyond athletics because, especially when it comes to the mental part of the game, it's not only for sports, it's for life as well. And so, for me, like I said, I learned about mental skills after I was done playing, and it helped me with my career as an environmental health and safety um, manager. And also, it helped me as a mental performance coach. So, mental skills training is not only for athletes. So one thing I would like to say, there's so many pieces of advice I could give out there, but the one thing is, and it's one quote I said to myself a couple years ago, and I'm not sure if this is a known quote, but I just said it to myself, and what I said was, the day you stop caring what other people think about you is the day you start living. And so I feel so many people are worried about what other people will say about them, what they think about them. And if you do that, if you continue your life like that, it's like you're in a mental jail because you're not living. Because how can you live your life if you're constantly worried about what he's thinking, she's thinking, they think, you can't do that. You can't live your life, right? So you have to stop worrying about them and stop comparing yourself to people on social media. Social media is just a person's highlight reel. So it's not fair to yourself to compare your lows to someone else's highs. No one is posting their lows on social media, right? No one. They're posting their highlight reels. So how do you feel if one day you are just not feeling your best and you look on social media and someone is posting their highlight? It's going to make you feel like crap. So stop comparing yourself to other people. They're not posting their bad days, and I'm sure they do have their bad days. So that was kind of like a two advice there piece there. Stop worrying what other people think about you and stop comparing yourself to other people. So I like to say, stop comparing yourself with other people. Just compete with yourself every day.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I mean, my skill set's going to be different from your skill set. It's going to be different
Absolutely.
from somebody else's skill set because we're just different people. We were
Right, right.
born, raised different ways, and that's okay to be different. But what are you going to do to make yourself the best version?
Yeah, exactly. You bring something different to the table, and your superpower is you, right? And so when I started to become a mental performance coach, I was kind of comparing myself too much, and I was like, oh, they're doing this program, they're doing that, and I had to like tell myself, chill. You know what? You know what separates you from the other person? You. I have my own lingo. I have my own swag. I have my own way of doing certain things. He or she is not me and I am not them. That's what separates us, you know? So I had to really learn that early because in the beginning I was paralyzed, like, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. No, you should be doing what you can with what you have and go with that.
Perfect. I got the shivers, when you hear something
Yeah.
awesome like that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
that's amazing. Sometimes everyone just needs to hear that. So, if
Yeah.
anyone ever has any questions or anything, what's the best way that they can reach out to you or kind of, I guess, look you up and get some more insight?
Yeah. So Instagram is I am mentally tough. Facebook is I am mentally tough. Just spell it out. Website is I am mentally tough.com. And my email address, I just created a new one. So it's Gladine Frasso at I am mentally tough.com. Or you can use the old one. I still check them both, is I am mentally tough at Gmail. So just Google I am mentally tough. You would find me. I am there. Anyone have any questions, you can slide up in my DMs and ask me any questions. The best way that I can respond though is through my email. That's where I am. Social media for me is a back burner because I have so many goals in front of me right now. With my kids, my full-time job, well, two full-time jobs. That's where my attention is right now, and just being in the present. I think that's very, very important that people need to know, being in the present moment. So social media is really taking a back seat to everything else that's really important in my life.
Well, I thank you for your time. I definitely think you are a role model and you are
Yeah.
giving great advice. Like everyone should take this and run with it. And what you said, I hope it sticks with individuals. So again, I thank you so much. And I myself have learned a lot too. So
I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to the next one that we do. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this.
of course, and we can't wait to work with you. Gladine's one of our sponsors this year. So let's go. Let's get it going.
So thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you. And I hope everyone enjoyed watching.